Hello. This is Captain Picard's quarters. We are controlling the captain. It's a point and click game. I did attempt Picard's fish, but as you can see it's not that great. So I've been working on this in Unreal Engine for a couple of weeks now. I've been trying to practice and improve on my Unreal Engine skills. I would actually like to make a point and click game one day, and I do love science fiction, especially Star Trek, so I thought why not practice with this. What really influenced my love of point and click games in the past? Probably Broken Sword, and there is actually a Star Trek one called Final Unity. And the Telltale point and click games were kind of an inspiration from a visual standpoint. I really like the whole cel-shaded look. So if you just look behind the game here, you see we kind of have a space surrounding outside, but I've had to put big black boxes there to kind of block off parts of it, because I decided I wanted to make this kind of a game that you would see from the side, so I had to get rid of the walls on one side and give it that kind of cutaway look. I modelled these chairs and the table. Doesn't look that great. Framed picture of Riker, of course, and a tiny Captain Picard doll. How cute is that? And now we come to Captain Picard, who I also modelled. And earlier I mentioned the cel-shaded look, which I decided to go with on this project. If I take a look here, you can see what it originally looks like without the cel shading, which, I thought that looked okay at first. I still think it looks not bad, but I felt that the cel shading just really added to it more and looked better on it. Also, I had this other idea, that the reason that he's so small and out of proportion and cel-shaded was that the crew was somehow shrunk by an omnipotent, that's easy for me to say, an omnipotent entity, which would explain why they're all so small. And then I thought about adding a tilt shift feature, which is the effect that makes everything look tiny and miniature. I thought that would be quite cute, but it ended up being too complex, so I didn't do it in the end. But it would have been good. So you can click on this door and go through to the bridge, and this is where the point and click portion of the game's life died. It became too complex and I couldn't do the stuff that I wanted to do, so I just switched to normal WASD controls. I did manage to model the whole bridge though, again with the cutaway side section. This bridge isn't accurate, I know. Now there is a wall here, which isn't supposed to be there, and I'll tell you why later. So I modelled all of these characters too. There's Geordie and Data, and that's them without the cel shading. Yeah, and I got this weird bold patch on all of my characters, so I don't know why. Maybe because I modelled them from Picard. Here's Riker, leaning of course, talking to Troy. Worf was fun to model. You can't quite see the ridges on his head though. Let's animate him a bit. This is what everyone looks like in motion. Speaking of fun to design, here's old Wesley. His top was actually quite challenging to learn how to make, but I did enjoy making him tinier than everyone else and giving him that nervous animation. And we have a couple of red shirts here, but not red shirts. You know what I mean. But this was as far as I got with this. This is the new game, exactly the same thing pretty much. Except now, you can run with the WASD keys. And if you go to the bridge, there are even more changes. So here are those walls that I was talking about earlier. One of the reasons why I changed the game now is because I wanted to have dialogue in the game. But what does that have to do with these walls? Well, if we go over here to a camera and we click on the camera, this is the camera cut that will be showing when Worf is talking to Picard. But there's no wall here in the game. What I ended up having to do was get the camera and attach a wall to the camera. So here's the camera, this is the wall. You can see it better if I move this. And I basically had to line it up. There may have been another way of doing it that was easier, but to be honest, I'm still not that knowledgeable of Unreal Engine. So that was done so there would be a wall in the background when you're talking to Worf. Here we are in the actual level, running around. Picard doesn't run, but... And here's the feature I wanted to put in all along. You got the camera cut there, and the conversation. I even tried to make the banner on top reminiscent of the computer banner. And there you'll see in the background the wall, kind of not matching at the bottom, but it does the job. The reason I wanted to put the conversations in is because I feel they've really missed that boat with the Star Trek games, especially later ones. I think the one they made for the Star Trek movie reboot, they made one for that, and it was just a shooting game. And Elite Force, which I know people think is the best Star Trek game, and it was good, but I feel like they're all missing the key non-combat parts of Star Trek. It's a perfectly normal interaction between Wesley and Picard. The final map I did is Sickbay. So there's our camera walls once again. I have to say, I think Crusher looks the best out of all the models in cel shading. I'm not sure what it is, but the lighting just looks the best on her model. Or it might just be the lighting in Sickbay. This is the final conversation I put together in the demo. Like I said before, I think it's kind of a shame that there's not more Star Trek games with an RPG feel to them. I just consider Mass Effect the video game successor to Star Trek. When you think about the Normandy and how you interact with all of your crew, and when you think about the Next Generation crew and how they all interact, it can make for such a great experience. By the way, if you want to watch this without me talking, there's actually a video of it on my other channel. For a while I actually did think Telltale could make the next Star Trek game. My thinking was that the cel-shaded look could work with it. There would be conversational choices. There would be dialogue between characters. You'd be able to make meaningful final decisions. But of course, that's before Telltale went crazy, and I guess it will never happen now. This guy isn't dead, by the way. See, he's moving. But you know what is dead? Probably this project. I feel like I've gone as far as I can go with it, and if I go any further there'll be a CBS sniper waiting for me. There's no need for cease and desist. I've already ceased this and desisted, whatever that means. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking at what could have been. If you're a Star Trek fan, well, you probably are if you're watching this, I'm going to be doing a playthrough of the game I talked about earlier, Star Trek: A Final Unity, if you want to stick around for that. And I will be doing more Unreal creations in the future. So if you're interested, I don't want to say like that smash button or whatever. I'm not going to tell you to like and comment and subscribe and favourite. Just check back if you like it. Check I'm still alive. I also play other games sometimes, and dogs and cats. I like dogs and cat videos. Anyway, here is Captain Picard signing out from Hogwarts, and as he always used to say, get your hands off my precious you cunt.